Do you want aim like this? And piece control like this?
Ready, free. Oh my god! Do it again.
What's up everyone? In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing my 2025 Fortnite gaming settings. I see so many of you guys in my comments requesting these sorts of videos, so in this video, I'm going to be going ahead and showing off the settings. I strongly recommend watching the whole video, because for each setting I show you, I break down the positives and negatives that come with the setting. So to start off, I'm going to go through my display tab. This is heavily linked to your computer or your console, and the model you run through. This is what's going to help you get the most FPS and performance in game. So display mode, I've gone full screen. If you play on stretched resolution, I understand that you may have to play on windowed full screen, but for most people, full screen is the best option. Then the resolution, you should just put this as the one to the very right. This is your native resolution and the one that your monitor can run on. VSync, I want to turn this off. Obviously, VSync can prevent screen tearing. However, it comes with a performance decrease, which you do not want. Frame rate limit, set this to whatever your monitor's hertz is. So for example, I'm on a 240 hertz monitor, so I'm going to set it at 240. The only exception is if you have a 60 hertz monitor, you want to set it at the one above, so 120 hertz, okay? But if you're on like a really high hertz monitor, so 144, set it at 144. 240 hertz monitor, set it at 240 hertz. Pretty simple, right? So that's what you got to do for the frame rate limit. For the rendering mode, you want to have it on performance mode because this is designed to give you the most FPS, right? So that's what I put it on. I see some pros like Mr. Savage, he plays on high meshes, which kind of looks like DX11, but he is still on performance mode. So performance mode is still what you want to play on. Now coming down to my brightness, I have my brightness on 100%. It's really recommended to have your brightness quite high, right? Which is going to help you see more players. If it's dark, you're going to see more shadows and, less players just going to all merge together. However, if it's too bright, it's going to get distracting, okay? So I feel like 100% is a really good balance. You could put it at 110, whatever you feel comfortable with, but 100% is honestly perfect. And the contrast, this is literally just something to do with your menu. It changes, as you can see, the background color, so keep it on 1%. And our colorblind is honestly preference. Like I think try to note, it makes the game look really bright and nice. So I have mine on try to note 5, so not too crazy compared to like the default colorblind setting. So you can turn it off, but if you want your game looking like really bright and nice, I recommend having colorblind 5. I have user interface parallax off just to help me get more FPS. And now 3D resolution. You want to have this at 100%. I see people saying, oh, turn it down, but especially for me as a content creator and someone, who makes content online and wants the best quality, well, you got to have it at 100%, or otherwise this resolution won't fully show. For example, I'm on 1920 by 1080. However, if I turn the 3D resolution here down, I'm not actually going to get that many pixels. So you got to keep this up no matter like what PC you have, because you can adjust the settings down here. So I have this setting off, okay, nanite visualize geometry, just to turn that off, okay. View distance, put it on near, textures low, meshes low. So I've got all the low settings, right, to help me get the most FPS. But you can actually put view distance on far because that's okay, right? View distance doesn't take up much of your PC. However, textures, you want to have that on low. This will strongly affect your FPS, as well as meshes, guys. Meshes, you want to have that on low. It's kind of like the old mobile builds, to what people call it, compared to high meshes. I know Mr. Savage does play on high meshes, but like low meshes, you just get more FPS. The game's cleaner. So copy these settings and adjust your view distance to your preference. Obviously, a near view distance will give you more FPS. However, having a high view distance, like it doesn't really affect your FPS that much, and it does help you see more players. And then show FPS, you actually want to turn this off because you actually get more FPS if you turn your FPS off. It's like, why does that happen? You might be asking. Well, it's kind of like your game is kind of monitoring your FPS if you have the setting on, so it takes your performance away, if that kind of makes sense. Okay. And just turn this report performance stats off. Like you don't want to be giving extra information to Epic Games. You just want to have your system running at the lowest cost. Now volume, this is all kind of standard stuff. Just how well can you hear stuff. I'm not really going to delve into this. However, sound effects is on 100% because you want to hear the footsteps. So this is like everything from gunshots to the footsteps to breaking trees. So put this to your preference. And yeah, voice chat, I don't really use voice chat. As a pro player, I talk in Discord, but that's fine. And then sound, you can have the quality on high or low. It doesn't honestly matter. I might even set it to low. I think, yeah, low is honestly good. You want to have your settings to low. 3D headphones, do not turn this on. You do not want 3D headphones on at all. And then background audio, this is just like when you're tabbed out of the game, right? When you're on another browser, what do you hear? So do you hear the whole game, or notification sounds. You should put this on notification sounds, so if you get invited, right, if someone invites you to their lobby, you still hear that. This is all kind of, you know, like nonsense, right? Apart from visualize sound effects, guys. Visualize sound effects you want to turn on, right? All pro players are using visualize sound effects, including me, and it really helps you see the players. You're gonna see when they're healing, when they're moving around, and it's gonna help you hearing. Voice chat, this doesn't really matter, honestly. Just skip through this one. So going into your game settings over here, what you want to do is set your region to your local region. For example, if you live in America, set it to NA East, NA Central, NA West, depending on, you know, what's the lowest MS, where you live. Obviously, I live in Europe, there's one server, so it's pretty easy. Like, for example, if you live in Australia, well, then you're going to put it to Oceania, right? So it's pretty easy like that. And yeah, so going on to these settings that really matter, right? It's like the extra game options. What you want to do, turn auto run lock zone on. This can allow you to auto run, so turn that on. Double tap the sprint, turn this on. Toggle sprint, you also want this on. It's going to allow you to properly sprint. Also open doors, keep this off. Okay guys, I see a lot of people having this on and then they accidentally open a door in a fight and it's not good, and they, you know, they get shot like for a lot of damage because they just automatically open the door. So you want to turn this off. Mantle activation, hold jump. HUD activation, hold jump. If you have it on forward, right, you're going to mantle when you press your forward button, which is really not good. And yeah, so combat, hold swap to pick up. I'd recommend turning this on. I have it on so I can like swap one gun out for another gun. For example, if I want to swap a shotgun without adding it to my inventory and then having to drop it, turn it on. Toggle targeting, turn this off. Mark danger when targeting, you want to have this on, okay? You guys want to be marking for your teammates, just marking for yourself. Also pick up weapons. I actually had this on, but I recently turned it off, right? Because you might think, oh, you can quickly like pick up the weapon before your opponent, but really I just use a scroll wheel to pick up my items, which I'm going to get to later on in the video, how to enable scroll wheel pickup. And really it just cluttered up my inventory. For example, if I'm in endgame running around, it just picked up guns for me, which I really didn't want. And now we get to preferred item slots, a really important setting that I see a lot of people utilizing. So I have preferred item slots on, of course, and this is going to help me like automatically arrange my loadout, right? So I don't need to really like swap it out in game. So utility is the last one. So this is like my rotation. For example, katana, you know, I use for movement, or a mask, something like that. And then I got my assault rifle, shotgun, and then these two unassigned ones go for healing, right? So my heals will automatically slot in here, which is kind of nice. So you can like copy me if you want, or like, you know, play around. But I wouldn't really recommend putting like a sniper, right? Because not really snipers in the game, and it, like if you have a sniper, it's going to automatically fix itself. So you know what I mean? It's going to add itself to the last one. There are snipers in the game, but you know what I mean. Now if we go back to the settings, right, auto sort computing board to the right, I would definitely recommend turning this on, even though we configured our item slots. You know, this setting's been around for ages, right, and it's really good. Reset building choice, turn that on. It doesn't really matter unless you're on console, which I'd definitely recommend turning it on, because you want to have your wars out. Okay, turbo winning, you need to have this on. We're not in 2018. Simple edit. Now, simple edit, if you're on controller, I'd strongly recommend actually turning simple edit on, because, you know, it helps you get those quick movements and edits. However, if you're on keyboard, editing is really simple, so just turn simple edit off. Disable pre-edit option. If you play competitive Fortnite, I'd recommend turning this off, right? Because you can like make pre-edit plays with you and your teammates, you know, smack on their wall, get a pre-edit and kill them. But if you're playing solos, turn this off because it's going to mess you up. You don't really go for pre-edit plays in solos. And I was playing the solo cash cup the other day, so I keep it on. Auto confirm edits, just have edit on release on. This is the best one. If you have both on, you're not going to be able to reset your edits properly. And also, like, it's 2025. The best players, me, Peterbot, you know, even Click started switching to edit on release on. So you want to have edit on release on, okay. You can ignore the contextual tip setting, just turn that off because you're not a new player, I'm assuming. Invert view, turn this off. You can really ignore these, you know, these invert airball controls. And then when you get to NVIDIA highlights, you want to turn this off, okay. You really want to turn NVIDIA highlights off, okay. You don't want to have your clips automatically recorded unless you actually use the software, but most people don't, so you just got to turn this off. Peripheral lighting, you can turn this on or off, like it doesn't really matter unless you have like a supported Fortnite keyboard. It's not going to really matter. Tab to interact, you need to turn this on, okay. This is what's going to allow you to hold the chest when you open it, right. You don't want to like have to hold your E, so it's going to automatically do it when you tap once, right. Set your FOV to the maximum. This is what's going to allow you to see the maximum number of players, trees, etc. These two are irrelevant. And then record replays. If you're struggling with FPS, turn replays off. However, I play competitive. I like to VOD review my game, so I have it on. Creative replays, yeah, same thing there. For example, if I hit a clip, you know, I can go back in replays if I weren't clipping, and then record large team replays. I mean, I'd say that's turn that off, right? Team rumble, that's, you know, it's going to cause a lot of memory on your computer. And record high quality replays. If you're going to record replays, make sure they're high quality, or you're literally not going to be able to see anything. Now, going down to the energy saving settings, sleep mode, this doesn't really matter. You know, sleep mode isn't that big of a feature. It doesn't really affect performance. And then these energy saving settings, you want to turn them off, right? If your computer is saving energy, there is a performance risk, right? Performance decrease. So if you want the most FPS, turn this off. And then rocket racing, these stuff don't really matter. But yeah, really turn these energy saving settings off, right? Because that's going to give you the most FPS. Now, going over to game UI, you can just copy my settings for these. I have all of them on for the reticle and the recoil, spread, etc. Damage numbers are cumulative, right? You want to have them add up so you don't have to do maths. It's a really nice setting they added in chapter 4. And then reticle damage feedback, you can have this as hit only. You don't want to have off, right? Or you're not going to be able to see how much damage you're doing. Just have hit only on. Maybe hit and icons, but the icon doesn't really do anything. It's just like a scale number. Damage number scale, you need to set this to the highest possible, right? So you can properly see the damage, and it also looks nicer in clips. HUD scale, you really don't want to have this on 100%, right? I see a lot of like new players have this on 100%. It's going to distract you. Put it to somewhere you're comfortable with, like 70, okay? And then these don't really matter. Of course, you want to have like your map, your health, your loot, right? You want to have that on, right? One thing you could turn off is your net debug stats, which is your ping, right? So similarly to show FPS, if you turn show your ping off, right, you're going to get more ping because your game doesn't have to calculate your ping every second, right? And yeah, so that's what you want to do for game UI. Going into these gyro options, you don't really want to have them on, like, unless you play on a controller. And even if you play on a controller, you're not really using gyro, right? So turn that off. And then my sensitivity, these is really important. So I'm going to go back to that after. My keybinds as well, really important. So we're just going to skip through these ones really fast. These controller settings, the only one that matters is the slide hold time. Even if we're on a keyboard, right, slide hold time is affected. So put it quite low, right, so you have the fastest reaction time. So 0.1, right, is good. And this account tab at the bottom doesn't really matter. Obviously, just customize it to your own ability, but changing these settings isn't really going to affect your FPS that much or your performance in game. So now going over to my keybinds, I'm going to run through everything here and really explain why I have each setting so it can help you make an informed decision. So move is just WASD, right? Standard. Jump, just spacebar. Then sprint I have it on 3 because that's easily accessible. Same with auto run 2. I'm quite lazy, so I like having auto run. Crouch control, right? That's pretty common with all the pro players. These two are blank. Fire, left click, target, right click. That's standard, right? That's just any video game. My reload button is R, in fact, which is pretty common as well. And then use is E. But then if you notice here, there's also the scroll wheel down button, right? So to pick stuff up, so use, basically, I can also scroll wheel stuff, which is really fast. Obviously, if you just scroll wheel, right, it's really fast, right? So you can like pick stuff up really fast, for example, opening chests. So put it to your scroll wheel. That's how you do scroll wheel pickup, guys. Pickaxe and weapon slot 1, just mouse button. So my pickaxe and my AR. My shotgun's on a capital lock. Weapon slot 3 shift, 4 is G, and weapon slot 5 is just 1. So they're all really accessible on my keyboard. Targeting, this is what changes like your, the scope on some weapons. So just put this to whatever you want. But I'd recommend having your weapon slots like really accessible. Okay, for building, I actually use VXFQT. I don't use F1, F2, F3, F4. This is just a joke. Obviously, this is the secondary option, which actually is used by me. So yeah, so let me just change this in fact. So V, X, F, Q, and T. A lot of people have like they're building on their mouse button, which is cool. But obviously I started this way and I'm left-handed. So my left hand is significantly stronger than my right hand. So it makes sense for me to have, all my building pieces on this side. And then crouch while building, this should be the same as your crouch. Repair is Z, rotate is R. And then building edit, right? Building edit is C, right? So this is what I press to like make the edit. However, if you want confirm edit and release on, you need to put building edit as mouse wheel, right? Mouse wheel up or down. And then what you want to do is do reset building edit as mouse wheel as well. So when you reset your edit, you could just scroll up and it will reset. Select building edit is left click, right click for reset, etc. This is for without scroll wheel. If you want to reset without scroll wheel, you have a right click. And yeah, so there's the main settings. And then I need to go into my sensitivity. This is like the main one that I see you guys asking for. So my X and Y axis sensitivity are the same, which is 5.8%, and I play on a DPI of 800, right? So my sensitivity is pretty average, I'd say, maybe a little high, but you know, it's pretty average if you compared me to all the professional players. Targeting sensitivity, you need to have this around 35 to 50% of your actual sensitivity, because it needs to be slower so you can aim in and get more accurate. Zoom scaling, put this at legacy, and then ignore controller input, turn this on or off depending on what you play on. So if you're on controller, turn it on, if not, just turn it off. Lock input method as mouse, you can have this on or off, it doesn't really matter. If there's no controller plugged in, this setting shouldn't matter. And if you have a controller plugged in, just put it on, but I don't use a controller. Custom diagonals, these are my custom diagonals, 76, 90 and 135. This is perfect. I think I copied this off like Pro Player Code like 3 chapters ago, right, when I used to have like custom top movement software, and I've stuck with this ever since, which is perfect. Mouse flight, you want to have this 100%. You don't want your mouse like going really slow, you know, whatever you want. And then tank settings, turn this off. And then rocket racing, these are just all nonsense. So yeah, those are my 2025 Fortnite settings. And if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead in that item shop and pop in code BenFN, right? This really helps me out, just BenFN, especially if you're buying the battle pass. Hope you guys enjoyed the settings. If you have any questions in the comments, let me know below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.